So I think I mentioned at the beginning, I am the marketing work group chairman of AVnu Alliance. And so what we're going to talk about here is what the role of AVnu is with respect to AVB. So one of the fundamental questions is, what is the AVnu Alliance? So AVnu is a bunch, it is the first industry forum that's dedicated to leading the adoption of these IEEE open standards for AV. So these are new standards. There haven't been IEEE standards focused on AV. And one of the challenges with the IEEE, they're really great at writing specifications and doing those types of things. But it's not the job of the IEEE to sort of shepherd those, the adoption of those. And it's not the job of the IEEE to focus on certifying that devices are compliant with those standards. So AVnu Alliance was formed. We're a nonprofit organization that's been joined by some of the largest AV, automotive, and semiconductor manufacturers in the world. And what we're really working on defining, again, is a mechanism so that you guys who are designing systems and that your end users who are using those systems are confident and know that when you see an AVnu certified device, that you know when you plug them together that they're going to work. So part of the benefit of AVB is that it's much bigger than Pro AV. So we're all here because we know and love Pro AV. The problem is that it's a really, really tiny portion of the entire network world. Now the good news is that there are other segments that are very, very interested in this as well. Automotive. So not only does AVnu serve the pro market, we also serve automotive. Automotive is interested in this for really obvious reasons. Second to the engine, the heaviest thing in any vehicle is the wiring harness. The average sedan, 800 pounds of copper in it, okay? And I just saw the other day a benchmark for every 100 pounds of weight you got in an auto, it's a mile per gallon. So if you can cut that in half, you just added 4 miles per gallon. These people are really, really interested in this. And it's bigger than just that. Originally, when we started doing this, we thought that automotive would be interested in this for infotainment, right? That's the AV part of it. Well, they are. But they very quickly, once they saw this, they said, wait a second, we've got deterministic delivery of these mechanisms. Hey, we can start converging systems. So we've got members now, Hyundai, General Motors. We've got a bunch of other people that are in queue looking at this going, you know what? You know how many microprocessors are inside your auto? It's something like 80. There's all kinds of traffic going on there. And if we can converge the number of those systems, again, even less wiring. So don't want to spend a lot about automotive, but that's a big, big market. And the key here is economy of scale. That's why AVB is so important. So AVnu Alliance is very interested in that. Let's go to an even bigger market, consumer electronics, right? Let's be honest. There's more and more networking going into every consumer's house. And the reason that there are so many semiconductor manufacturers who are interested in this is that is probably the largest market in the world. And AVB has a play there. It's a little ways off. You know, I'm not gonna kid that. There are challenges in consumer electronics, but that's what's driving a lot of this. So what does the AVnu Alliance do? Well, we obviously promote the use of AVB. We've been doing that. We're doing that here. One of the key things that we are doing is we are creating the conformance and interoperability tests for AVB devices. So what's conformance? All right, that's basically says, here's this IEEE specification, and we're going to put it through this test and check it off. Does it do that? Does it do that? Does it meet the spec? Does it meet the spec? Yes. And interoperability. Now, interoperability is a little different because that proves that that device talks to that device. They're separate things. AVnu is interested in both of them. And that certification program is to ensure that. So, what that's going to result in is an AVnu logo. So when you guys are designing gear, and you put it in, you see the AVnu logo, and plug it into another piece of gear with AVnu logo, you know it's going to work. We also educate. So we do things like this. Well, we'll be talking a little bit at Infocomm. We've got a pavilion. We're doing hourly presentations about AVB. Some of it covered here, some of it even deeper, but it's really part of our goal as an organization to educate and raise the awareness of it. And we also help drive the standards. So we've got this massive membership and that's ever growing, and we're focused on the technology, and we're out there promoting it, we're out there using it, we're putting it into products, and we see where we need things to evolve. One of the interesting things when I started working with some of those IEEE guys, and I've sat through those meetings, and you know what somebody said, the definition of a good standard is that it's always evolving. If we look at Ethernet in and of itself, you know, who remembers 10 base 2? All right? When we were walking around jiggling the coax cable, moving the terminator, trying to figure out whose node was messed up, right? And then we got to 10 base T. All right, great. And then we got to 100. We got off of hubs and into, so those standards are evolving, and AVB is part of that evolution. And AVnu helps, with our membership, we collectively can help shape those standards. So we've got over 40 plus manufacturers here. A huge number of them are in this industry. We've got a unique opportunity here where we've got the Pro AV industry, relatively small, but we are on the bleeding edge of AV, and we're driving this. Now, you'll also, as you start looking at those, you'll start seeing you know, some tiny semiconductor companies like, Intel. And then a lot of people that maybe you're not aware of, Broadcom, and where are they at? Marvell. Those two companies make almost 90% of the switch chips in the industry, okay? And in the past 3-4 years, every device that they've shipped is AVB capable. That means, like Bill was saying, they've got the dedicated hardware in there, and now they're starting to implement the software to implement it. And as I mentioned before, we've got automotive people in there. The other thing that's kind of neat about this, and just talking a little bit, one of the things, sometimes when you look at proprietary standards, you'll get this big grocery list of who's adopted it. And, you know, I'm a marketing guy here, but we kind of take the conservative route. So, you know, we're not going to say the 8 brands of Harman, it's Harman. So from a brand perspective, there's Bosch. There's a whole bunch of Bosch brands. There's a whole bunch of Loud Technology brands. There are a lot of actual brands involved in this. Big participation from the Pro AV community. So what's an AVnu certified device going to mean to you, right? It comes back to my WIIFM type of thing. It's simplicity, right? So hopefully we've been pounding on this, and like Rex said, we didn't actually collaborate so much on this. We did our presentations separately. We brought them together today. So this large overlap, I mean, we're reading from the same psalm book here. But tested interoperability. So one of the key benefits of AVB is that you've got, you being manufacturers, have a large number of solutions to choose from. Those proprietary standards, you had to go to one person to buy it. And that usually ended up being based on royalties and things like that. Here you've got a number. We've got 15 different silicon manufacturers who are members. That's a huge, huge palette to choose from. Because let's be honest, if you're building a DSP matrix box, the chip that's going to go in there probably isn't going to be the same thing that will go in a handheld mic, right? So having all of those different options and this broad adoption ultimately results in better choices, more economic choices for manufacturers to incorporate, which brings down the overall cost of networking and makes the adoption go up. Again, what does this have to do with interoperability and certification? Well, if you've got a number of people doing it, not just one person, you've got to make sure that it works together. So that's what AVnu's focused on that. And that certified confidence is what we're here to build. So coming back to information here, a little bit of an eye chart, but just want to underscore that we've got a pavilion over at Infocomm. It is C11039. That's C1139. Write it down. C11039. And we've got hourly presentations. Again, we talk about, we're very application specific. We've also got a couple that are more focused. Bill's going to be doing one that's, again, focused on the IT perspective. We also have one that's called a deep dive, which even more so than my initial talk gets under the hood for the gearheads. And we've also got a manufacturer symposium there. So I know there aren't that many manufacturers here, but you guys interact with them a lot. And if you see the value in this, the key is to talk to those manufacturers and say, it's almost like I want my MTV, right? I want my AVB. What's your roadmap, manufacturer, on getting your devices on the AVB roadmap? And are you an AVnu member? Because you can say you've got AVB. That's awesome. But how am I going to know that when I plug it into another device that says it's AVB, hey, we saw it, it's a bunch of standards. If you don't implement all the same standards, you're not sure it's going to work. So the manufacturer symposium's on Friday at noon. Tell your manufacturer friends. If they're not on that list already, they should be. And stop by and we can talk to them about that. So at that pavilion, we also have our first large-scale interoperability demo. At the heart of that, we've got an extreme switch, and we've got all of these devices, 15 different member companies, interacting live through this. We're eating our own dog food here, people. When we're talking through the mic, it's going to be an AVB mic. Through an AVB console. Through an AVB front of house. This stuff is real. And we've gone to large extents. We spent a lot of work, a lot of sweat. But this level of interoperability is here. And so I'd certainly like to encourage you all to stop by the pavilion. At the end of each one of those hourly presentations, we're going to be showing off the demo. Also, whenever we're not doing the presentations, doing the same thing. Somebody talked about, we just saw in hospitality, background music. We've got background music running through all of the nodes all the time.
Unplug it and watch it recover.
You are a problematic person there. Yeah. So that's really all I've got. I know there were sort of a number of questions. I felt bad for Rex. It seemed like some of the questions that were coming up were more AVnu specific, and Rex did an awesome job fielding them. Maybe he wants to run for the next round of MWG chairman. But are there any AVnu specific questions before we sort of open it up to the general?